Hey guys, today's video is all about glitter. I'm going to show you how to mass produce these Shabby-Chic glittered ornaments. So let's take a look at the supplies that you'll need. I'm going to be using our oatmeal and craft cardstock and our iconic Christmas die along with our clear cut stacker stars die. You'll also need some scrap crochet trim, a couple buttons, some glitter, and some tape sheets. So the first thing we're going to do is cut out our tree bases. We're going to be using the tree from our iconic Christmas die, and we're going to be cutting that out of our oatmeal cardstock. Now to adhere the glitter, we're going to be using these Be Creative tape sheets. And we're going to remove one side of the adhesive backing to reveal the adhesive, and we are going to adhere that directly to the oatmeal cardstock. Just use your fingers to smooth it out and make sure that it's all securely adhered. And since I'm going to be doing multiples, I will just flip the die and rotate it like this as I run it through the die cut machine. Now the sandwich for this is identical to your normal sandwich. I'm going to start with the multi-purpose platform. Both tabs are down. And then I'm going to use my cutting plate, my paper, and the adhesive side, the Be Creative sheet side up, my die, and then the other cutting plate. And it's a little slick, so be careful when you're putting on your top plate because you could shift the die. And then I'm just going to run this through the die cut machine. Now I'm just doing 3 for demonstration purposes, but if you were going to be making more than 3 and filling up, say, a whole tabletop tree, you could actually use a whole sheet of this Be Creative tape on your oatmeal cardstock and then cut it into like 4-inch strips and die cut multiple trees at once. Now I'm going to cut out all of my stars, and for that I'm using the second smallest die from our clear cut stackers die. And again, it's the same sandwich construction. I'm just going to run this through and cut out all my stars. So the key to these ornaments is giving them a little bit of longevity. If these were just made out of cardstock, they probably wouldn't hold up very long. So what we're going to do is we are going to back these with our wafer board. Now our wafer board is thinner than chipboard but thicker than cardstock, so they work great with all of our wafer thin dies. We're going to use the same sandwich construction as we would for cardstock. So we're using our multi-purpose platform with both tabs down, a cutting plate, the wafer board, our die, and then we'll top that with another cutting plate. Now it'll be just a tad bit tighter, but it does run through just fine, and it cuts through like butter. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut out the rest of these. Okay, now that I've got my wafer board backers cut and the tree fronts cut, I am going to go ahead and apply the glitter. And for that, I'll be using this Tim Holtz Distress Glitter. This is his dry glitter, and it's in clear rock candy. I love this glitter. You can also stamp and then cover your stamped image with this glitter, and it will show through. Another great thing is this wide mouth. So I can dunk directly in here. For instance, if I was doing the star, I could just dunk it directly into the jar and I would have literally zero fallout and mess. So to cover these trees, we're going to remove the remaining backer sheet, and that is going to reveal this solid sheet of adhesive that covers the entire front of the tree. Now what I like to do is, this is super sticky, so I like to take one side and dip it first and cover that with glitter, and that gives me somewhere to hold my tree here while I apply the rest of the glitter. So I'm just going to sprinkle that on top, and then I will use my finger to burnish it in. And you'll see that this glitter is completely stuck. And I'm just going to check around here and see if there's any spots that were missed, if I can feel anything sticky, and I don't. So I know that one's completely covered and I can go ahead and do the rest. To adhere the front to the back, I'm going to be using the Tombow Mono Multi-Glue. And I'll be using the fat end, and I'll just squeeze some onto the wafer board and then smear that all around. Making sure to get to the edges because I don't want any of those edges to lift. I want a nice solid seal. And then I'm just going to push the top onto the back, and that tree is all done. Now I can just move on to the others. Now it's time to embellish, and for that I'm going to use the stars that I cut, and I've already inked the edges with some white pigment ink. And then I'm going to add a little scrap of crochet trim, and then to that I'm going to add a button that I've threaded with some twine. To adhere all of this, I'm going to be using some Fabri-Tac. This kind of has the consistency of almost like a glue gun glue. It tends to string. So I'm just going to add that to the back of the button and press that into the crochet trim. And then I'm going to add a little bit more to the back of the trim and then adhere that directly to the star as well. Now to adhere the star to the tree, I'm going to be using glue dots. I find that glue dots work the best when working with glitter or glitter covered objects or whatever. They hold better than any other medium that I've tried. I'm going to trim off these little tails, and now all of my trees are embellished. So the final step is turning these into ornaments, and we are going to take it old school because I know all of you, like me, have a ton of these eyelets laying around that you just don't know what to do with. So we're going to be using that, and we're going to be using some crochet thread. And if you wanted to finish these off and make them double-sided, you could actually add another tree to the back and glitter it as well. So I'm going to use my crocodile to punch my hole in the top of my tree, and then I will set my eyelet. Give it a good squeeze, and then we can add our thread so that we can hang it. You can just use the same method you would use for a tag. Just loop it, stick it through the eyelet, and then feed the tails through the loop, and then just tie the end in a knot, and you have an ornament for hanging. And that completes our shabby chic glittered ornament. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope it inspires you to get out some of your dies and that glitter and decorate some of those tabletop trees. It's a lot of fun, and it's a good way to use up all of those scraps. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.